Hello everyone and welcome to Dota Alchemy. Thank you for tuning in again today. This is Donnie aka Elevated, and the ESL Birmingham Major just finished, which means that it is now officially patch day, and we have just gotten the gameplay update 7.16, 7.16, and we're just going to quickly go over the patch notes and talk about the biggest things that you should pay attention to going forward on this particular patch. On to the changes. Bounty runes team gold has been reduced from 40 plus 3 per minute to 40 plus 2 per minute, so just slightly less gold from the bounties. They're still going to be very important. You should still be picking them up if you can as a team and prioritizing that when those do come up. All right, Valve is finally addressing movement speed a little bit. I still think that movement speed is the most underrated aspect of the game. It is why a lot of heroes become strong, and people don't really quite realize that necessarily, but movement speed allows you to do so much. It allows you to farm faster, position yourself better in fights, catch people when you're chasing them down, and it's just generally, I think, something that most people underrate as being important. So Valve is reducing movement speed talents across the board on the following heroes. Increase base HP regen to 1.75 for the following agility heroes: Anti-Mage, Arc Warden, Clinks, Drow Ranger, Meepo, Pangolier, Phantom Assassin, Templar Assassin, Troll Warlord, and Vengeful Spirit. This is a fairly big deal. Regen is one of the most important things in the early game, and we see that heroes like Slark getting an additional 1.5, 1.75 regen added to them has allowed a hero like Slark to go from barely picked at all to considered a pretty strong laner. So this could be a boost in viability to a number of these heroes. Melee barracks health has been increased by 200 to make them even harder to kill. Roshan attack damage upgrade has also been increased to make Roshan slightly harder to deal with as well. Item changes. Blades of Attack has been increased by 10 gold. So now phase boots costs an additional 20 gold. Bottle fixed bounty rune bug where it was not storable when the bottle's full. Enchanted Mango HP regen has been reduced yet again. Mango is still probably better than Clarity just because it's instant regen, and in the lane that's really, really important. The burst of mana is just too good. And so generally speaking, I still think that Enchanted Mango will be bought a lot just because that 0.1 is not going to make a big enough difference to make people not buy it. Hand of Midas cooldown has been reduced by 5. Moonshard attack speed increased by 10. Nullifier projectile speed has been reduced by 150 from 900 to 750. So you now should probably be as close as possible to land this before people get off their BKBs. Rod of Atos recipe cost reduced by 100. Sentry Ward duration has been increased from 4 to 6 minutes. This is a very big change. Sentry Ward duration means that this is now even stronger to put a Observer Ward Sentry Ward combo, especially against invisibility heroes, obviously, because now they both last for the same amount of time. Shadow Amulet cost has been increased from 1,300 to 1,400. Silver Edge recipe cost has been reduced, I guess, to sort of compensate for that. Skull Basher recipe cost has been reduced by 150 gold. Vladimir's Offering mana regeneration has been increased from 0.65 to 1. Probably not enough to still really justify buying Vlads on most games. Hero changes. Alchemist, Grievel's Greed Bounty Rune multiplier has been increased by 0.5. This doesn't really change much. Anti-Mage base attack rate has been improved by 0.05, so he just attacks slightly faster. Again, not a big change to the hero. Arc Warden base damage has been increased by 2. Magnetic Field mana cost has been reduced. This is a fairly significant change. Magnetic Field is now 30 mana less at level 1, and the +2 base damage is a pretty big deal just because that little base damage tweak can do quite a bit for a hero's last hitting ability. So Arc Warden may be a hero to keep an eye on, especially with the Midas changes as well and the HP regen increase. So definitely keep an eye on Arc Warden as a hero that could be strong. Bane Enfeeble duration has been reduced by quite a bit at the early levels. Bloodseeker level 10 talent increased from +4 armor to +8 armor, and level 20 talent increased from +14% rupture damage to +18% rupture damage. Both of these are fairly significant changes. The 8 armor definitely means that it's a pretty hard choice between attack speed and armor now. Makes Bloodseeker tankier than he was before. And if you remember correctly, he used to have an HP talent at level 10, and that was when he was getting picked a ton because he was really, really tanky at level 10. They moved the HP talent to level 15, and he suddenly was immediately not being picked. But with 8 armor, that's a pretty significant amount, and it might actually counteract his Blood Rage damage. This Rupture damage talent is also pretty insane. I think 14% was already pretty abusive, but now with 18, it's even better. I think this hero is going to be really, really strong. I think it is already really, really strong. It's been buffed for like literally 10 or 11, 12 straight patches. So I'm pretty sure we'll start seeing this picked up more in the pro scene, and it's definitely already strong enough to stomp pubs with. Bristleback talent 25 has been increased from 20 to 30 warpath damage per stack. Not a big change. Broodmother Spawn Sparling's health has been increased by 30. Not a huge change. Centaur Warrunner base damage increased by 4. Hoof Stomp mana cost reduced. This is a fairly significant change, but I still don't think this hero is going to see a lot of play. Chaos Knight base intelligence has been increased by 2, so you can probably get, maybe one more Reality Rift off or a Chaos Bolt. Not huge changes though. Clink's intelligence increased from 16 base plus 1.55 per level to 18 base plus 1.7 per level. Strafe dodge no longer has a count limit, so you can dodge infinite number of projectiles. That includes, like Storm Hammer, Chaos Knight, Chaos Bolt. Those all count as projectiles in addition to projectile attacks like Lena's attack, Wind Ranger's attack, etc. I think that Clink's is an underrated strong hero now. He's been also buffed in many straight patches. The Strafe rework, I think, is actually quite good, and his talents are very strong. So I think that we'll probably start seeing some Clink's. And this is definitely another one of those pub stomp heroes who does kind of struggle with mana, but getting this base mana boost and also per level boost is a pretty big deal for a hero that uses mana constantly like Clink's does. Clockwork. Power Cog's mana cost has been increased to 80 at all levels. That's fine. I mean, his spells are so cheap. This will just punish you for having bad Cogs placement, and also will make you potentially have to use Clarities if you're blocking the wave with Cogs as an offlaner. Crystal Maiden base damage increased by 2. Arcane Aura self mana regeneration has been increased at all levels except for the last level where it's still 4. Dark Willow Bedlam cooldown has been reduced from 40, 35, 30 to 30 at all levels, and Bedlam duration has been increased from 4 to 5, so it does more damage and is up more often. I'm sure that we'll probably see some more mid Dark Willows coming out in your pubs. Dazzle strength gain has been increased. Poison touch count has been rescaled. Poison touch cooldown has been reduced. Death Prophet base movement speed has been reduced by 5. Spirit Siphon mana cost has been increased to 70 at all levels, and level 10 talent has been reduced from 50 damage to 40. Disruptor Thunderstrike cooldown has been increased. Much needed nerfs for this hero at the early levels. Doom Infernal Blade base damage has been reduced to 25 at all levels. Scorched Earth movement speed has been reduced from 14% to scaling up to 14%. So this is encouraging you to perhaps not level up Infernal Blade and level up Scorched Earth instead. I still think that Doom is going to be quite strong. Dragon Knight base movement speed has been reduced by 5. Elder Dragon Form bonus movement speed has been increased by 5. All right, Drow Ranger base damage has been increased by 4. That's quite a bit. That's going to help Drow last hit a lot. Also, Drow did get the HP regen buff for the agility heroes. Earthshaker base armor increased by 1. Enchantress base strength increased by 1. Nature's Attendant mana cost reduced. Enigma demonic conversion Eidolon bounty reduced by 6 per Eidolon. Gyrocopter call down missile 1 damage reduced by 50, 75. So reduced at the first 2 levels, the same at level 3, and level 10 talent reduced from 25 damage to 20. Not huge changes to Gyrocopter. It's still going to be a good hero. Huskar life break has been increased. The inner vitality mana cost has been reduced to scale, and the vitality base regen has been increased from 10 to 12. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th patch in a row they've changed this. And here is one of the biggest changes of the patch. Invoke mana cost has been removed. So that means more mana for Invoker. It means Invoker is going to be stronger early on, able to fight a little bit better early on. and just generally speaking is quite a big deal for a mono-reliant hero like Invoker. So this is definitely a big change. I think we'll probably see more Invokers played competitively. IO-based movement speed has been reduced even further. Who cares? You're always tethered to a unit anyway. Talents, level 15 talent reduced from 90 spirit damage to 75. I think that's a necessary nerf. So now you have to choose between the relocate cooldown and the attack tethered allies target, which you didn't have to before. You also have to choose between a much, much worse HP regen talent and gold per minute. And then you get less damage from your spirits unless you're giving scepter bonus. So nerfs to IO, which I think was pretty necessary. This hero is insane. It's always been insane. It's even more insane now. Or last patch it certainly was. And these nerfs are all, I think, probably warranted. Still a strong hero though. Kunkka, level 25 talent change from 50% Tidebringer cleave to 1.5 second Tidebringer cooldown. So I'd be interested to see what the math is on this as far as like damage, because you get more Tidebringers now, but they do less damage. I don't really know that's going to make a huge difference. Not big changes. Kunkka is still very strong. This hero can definitely stomp pubs and is going to be played in competitive a lot still. Leshrac, base intelligence reduced by 2. Lightning Storm cast range has been reduced from 800 to scaling up to 800 from 650 at level 1. Leshrac is still very strong. The base intelligence is going to just make it so his spells are less spammable early on. This hero is still very strong though, because Lightning Storm is still a very good spell with the slow, but you now have to be much closer to cast it, so it's harder to chase people and catch them. So that's a pretty significant change. But I think this hero will still probably see some play. Lich Chain Frost damage has been increased at all levels. Lycan intelligence gain reduced from 1.55 to 1.4. Shapeshift critical strike reduced very slightly at the first 2 levels. I mean, this will just definitely affect Lycan a little bit early on until he gets his Necro up, because that's where he gets his mono regeneration from for the most part. But I don't think we're going to see much of a change for Lycan here. It'll still be picked for pushing. Magnus Empower Cleave distance has been increased to match Battle Fury, and Empower Cleave radius has been increased to match Battle Fury. So now just Empower allows you to cleave the same as Battle Fury instead of being some weird different distance. Meepo, Earthbind projectile speed has been increased. Earthbind now fully affects invisible units. So that's probably a nice quality of life change for Meepo players, but I don't think that this makes a huge difference considering that you're usually blinking onto targets anyway. Mirana, leap attack speed has been increased at all levels by 20. Moonlight Shadow duration has been increased to 18 seconds, which means I think now with that talent, you basically have 100% uptime of Moonlight Shadow. I can't quite remember the numbers. I guess fairly significant buffs to Mirana, actually. Monkey King, Wukong's command armor increased from 8/14/20 to 12/18/24. Morphling, Morph only dispels on initial cast rather than on all toggles. Thank God, that was so broken. This hero is still very broken. Still probably the best hero in the game, but this makes it slightly less annoying to deal with. Necrophos attack point has been improved to make it easier to last hit. Base damage has been increased also to make it easier to last hit. Death Pulse mono regeneration per stack has been increased at all levels by a little bit so that you can now sustain and lane a little bit better. Night Stalker Void no longer applies mini stun during the day. That is a big deal for ganking Night Stalker at the early levels and just throughout the entire game. Darkness no longer sets enemy vision to a fixed amount, and Darkness now reduces enemy unit and ward vision by 25%. Interesting. It does not affect buildings. So that's pretty significant nerfs to Night Stalker. This hero has been super popular, super meta for a long time, and all of these are very bad changes for this hero. Heroes that have better night vision will still have better night vision than other heroes, and if you have a moon shard, your vision will increase. Ogre Magi multicast 2 times chance has been increased by quite a bit. Multicast 3 times chance has been also increased. Multicast 4 times chance has also been increased. And level 10 talent increased from 60 gold per minute to 90 gold per minute. Buffs to Ogre Magi. This is still a great pub hero, especially if your team's picking a lot of greedy heroes and you just want to run around and punch people in the face. Pangolier, level 15 talent change from 30 attack speed to +2 second rolling thunder duration. Level 20 talent improved from 30 swashbuckle damage to 40. And level 25 talent improved from 16 second rolling thunder cooldown to minus 35 second rolling thunder cooldown. So it's a 35 second cooldown. The swashbuckle cooldown is still good. You have to choose that or rolling thunder, but I think rolling thunder is probably the choice at level 25, just because it's a big team fight impact spell. Phantom Assassin Blur now only triggers on real heroes, so illusions will not dispel your blur. And Blur now always triggers on invisible and spell immune enemies, which means that if a Ricky is near you, you'll kind of be able to do what Slark does and detect that there's somebody near you because your blur will go away. So Phantom Assassin's like a discount Slark kind of for invisible heroes. Phantom Lancer, Doppelganger can no longer be cast while rooted. That is a very big change to this hero. A fairly big nerf and something that makes this hero easier to counter because you can just root him now and he can't get out of it. Phoenix, Fire Spirit damage has been increased from 10, 30, 50, 70 to 20, 40, 60, 80. Pudge, Meat Hook cooldown has been increased from 14, 13, 12, 11 to 17, 15, 13, 11. So longer cooldown at level 1, but also gets an additional 60 damage at level 1. So Meat Hook's pretty brutal at level 1, but the cooldown nerf, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal because you level this up anyway. So just more damage early on, but also slightly more punishing if you miss the hook, I guess. Pugna, Nether Ward, damage per mana increased a little bit. Queen of Pain talent, level 25 talent improved from 20 second spell block to 15 second spell block. So it's pretty good. I still think that the fear is just too strong though. Ricky base HP regen has been increased from 1.5 to 3. That's fairly significant. Blink Strike now can be cast on spell immune allies or enemies. That's also pretty significant. Tricks of the Trade cooldown has been increased from 40, 35, 30 to 50, 45, 40. And Cloak and Dagger Fade Delay has been increased to be quite a bit longer at level 1 and 2, slightly longer at level 3 and the same at level 4. Sand King, Caustic Finale Slow has been reduced from 30 to scaling up to 30 from 21 at level 1. Shadow Fiend Talent, level 20, changed from 20% evasion. Who cares? Neither of these matter. You're still picking 8% spell amp, 30 move speed, Shadow Raise damage, and cooldown reduction. It's just the way to build Shadow Fiend. Silencer, Last Word cooldown has been reduced from 30, 24, 18, 12 to 28, 22, 16, 10. Arcane Curse damage has been increased from 14, 22, 30, 38 to 16, 24, 32, 40. So just more annoying Silencer harass, I guess, in the laning stage. Wonderful for offlaners out there. Slardar, Bash of the Deep damage has been increased. Slark, Pounce damage has been reduced. Sniper Night Vision has been increased from 1100 to 1400. So now he has like full night vision. Spirit Breaker base HP regen has been increased by 0.5. Sven Talent at level 20 has been increased from 5 second Stormhammer cooldown to 6 second. Talent increased from 0.75 Stormhammer stun duration to 1.25 second. That's pretty significant. I guess if you're playing like a support Sven off lanes, I don't know. I still think that 40 God Strength is just so good. But the Stormhammer cooldown might be better than Lifesteal now. Tiny, Tree Grab building bonus damage has been increased at all levels by quite a bit. Tree Throw Splash Damage has been increased from 100 to 130%. Buffs to Tiny because he was probably slightly over-nerfed. Trent Protector, Living Armor Regen has been increased from 4, 7, 10, 13 to 4, 8, 12, 16. That's a lot. The last one. Heal up buildings faster. Tusk Ice Shard cooldown has been increased. Undying, Soul Rip, mana cost reduced from 100, 110, 120, 130 to 80, 95, 110, 125. Does quite a big difference. And Undying, I think, is kind of low-key already pretty good. Ursa, talent, level 15 talent change from 1 second Earthshock cooldown reduced to plus 25 second Fury Swipe reset time. Level 20 talent change from plus 25 Fury Swipe reset time to plus 12 Fury Swipe damage. Level 25 talent change from plus 14 Fury Swipe damage to Enrage gains 80% status resist. Holy shit, that's so good. Vengeful Spirit, Magic Missile cooldown reduced from 13, 12, 10, 12, 11, 10 to 10. Wave of Terror mana cost reduced from 40, 25, from 40 to 25, 30, 35, 40. Weaver Shukuchi damage has been increased slightly at all levels. Winter Wyvern Splinter Blast, slow increased. Splinter Blast mana cost reduced fairly significantly at level 1 and 2. Wraith King, Mortal Strike, no longer has a chance to kill creeps. Goodbye, Jungle Wraith King. Mortal Strike now gains skeleton charges for every 2 enemy units you kill. Mortal Strike skeleton count has been rescaled from 4, 5, 6, 7 to 2, 4, 6, 8. Mortal Strike skeleton's bounty has been reduced from 15 per and 15 gold per to 5 and 5. Mortal Strike mana cost to cast the skeletons has been reduced, scaling up to 75. What is with this hero, and what are these changes? Who cares? Zeus, base damage increased by 5. Whoa. Strength gain reduced by 0.3, so he'll be slightly less tanky. Arclight and damage has been rescaled from 85, 100, 115, 145 to 70, 95, 120, 145. It'll just make it slightly harder to last hit with the arc lightning, but not that hard because it's really not that hard in the first place. But you'll get less harassed while you are arc lightning creeps for farm, I suppose. But you'll still, I mean, once he gets to the later stages of the game, he's still going to do just as much damage. Lightning Bolt cast range has been increased from 700 to 700, 750, 800, 850. Lightning Bolt damage has been increased from 100, 175, 275, 350 to 125, 200, 275, 350. Holy crap. Why are they buffing Zeus? This hero is already insane. That's nuts. Okay, so in recap, the most important parts of this patch are that bounty runes are slightly less gold. They're still very good. Movement speed talents have been reduced. Movement speed is now starting to be recognized as overpowered. These HP regen changes are fairly big to some of these heroes. Arc Warden was also buffed quite a bit. Clinks was also buffed. Drow Ranger was buffed. Phantom Assassin was buffed. Vengeful Spirit was buffed. Pangolier was buffed. So just keep an eye on some of those heroes. As far as item changes, the most important one is going to be the Sentry Ward, I would say. Duration increase, and perhaps Blades of Attack being more expensive, which means Phase Boots is more expensive. And then as far as hero changes, Arc Warden I think is a hero to keep an eye on. Bloodseeker, definitely a hero to keep an eye on. Clinks is a hero to keep an eye on. Other than that, I would say Invoker, probably the biggest change out of the entire patch. IO nerfs. And then Mirana, pretty big buffs. Morphling, pretty big nerfs. Nice Soccer, dumpster tier. Ogre Magi, buff. Phantom Lancer, big nerf. Ursa, big buffs. Undying buffs. Zeus, big buffs. So those are the heroes that I would potentially target to perhaps be really strong. Also, I mean, Axe was not nerfed at all, and the hero is insane. So I hope this video helps you understand this new patch. Hope it gets you out ahead of everybody else with some of those heroes that have been buffed to the point of insanity. And let me know if you like this video down below in the comment section. And let me know what your favorite change of this patch is. Thanks so much for tuning in. Good luck, have fun, everyone, and go in the MMR.